in year five, and welcome to today's topic lesson. So obviously we've been focusing on ancient Greece over the last few weeks. That is our topic at the moment. And so what I would like you to do then is open up your books, topic at the top of your page, and then today's LO, which is to retell the events of the Trojan War, and today's date, which is Friday, the 5th of February. Okay, so let us begin. So today we're just going to run through the events of the Trojan War. So now the Trojan War is a famous story told in the Iliad, which is a poem written by Homer, okay, a famous Greek writer. No, it's not Homer Simpson before you make that silly joke, okay. Homer was a very, very famous poet back in ancient Greece. So the story begins in the city of Troy, which is now modern-day Turkey. The story tells us that the goddess had a disagreement, which they apparently asked Paris, the prince of Troy, to settle. Three goddesses then offered the prince a bribe. One offered him an empire, one told him he would be heroic in war, and the last one, Aphrodite, the goddess of love, offered him the most beautiful woman in the entire world. Okay, so this is quite a familiar story. You may have heard it somewhere else. The woman was Helen, the wife of King Menelaus of Sparta. Paris agreed, and so Aphrodite ensured that Helen fell in love with Paris, and they both ran away together. King Menelaus then sent an army led by his brother Agamemnon to go and bring Helen back to Sparta. The war went on for 10 long years, so 10 whole years, almost as long as you've been alive. The whole war went on. Many, of course, then died in the battle, including Hector, Paris's brother, Achilles, the most skilled Greek fighter, and even Paris died himself. So, the Trojan Horse. The last and most famous battle of the Trojan War began when the Greeks came up with a clever and cunning plan. The story, which was told by many writers and poets, was thought to be untrue. But when Heinrich Schliemann found the area he believed to be Troy and convinced many that the story of Troy may actually be true after all. So the Greeks decided to leave a gift for the Trojans, this large wooden horse. And when the Trojans saw the horse, they thought it was a gift and a sign that the Greeks had given up. So they thought they were just giving up and everything was going to be fine. They then saw the Greeks sailing away, and so they dragged the enormous horse into their city. However, hiding inside the horse was a group of Greek soldiers. So after the Trojans then fell asleep, they climbed out of the horse and let the rest of the Greek army into the city. The fighting then began and Troy was destroyed. So the Greeks tricked the city of Troy, the Trojans, by thinking that they'd all gone away. They sailed back home and they managed to sneak into their city through this big, big horse that the Trojans thought was a gift. And then as everyone was asleep, they snuck out the horse, let the rest of their army in, and the fighting then began and Troy was destroyed. The Greeks obviously killed everyone. It is believed that King Menelaus found Helen and tried to kill her, but Aphrodite, so remember Helen was Paris's lover, and tried to kill her. The King Menelaus tried to then kill her, but Aphrodite, the goddess of love, protected her from the king. So what I want you to do is make a freeze frame for me. Okay, so obviously it's normally be better in groups, but we can't do group work, unfortunately, as much as I'd love to. So what I want you to do is pick one of the main events of the Trojan War. So I've listed some here. You can choose some another part if you'd like. So I've got the Greeks arriving for battle, men hiding inside the horse while the Greeks pretended to sail away. Okay, the Trojans bringing the horse to the gates, the Greeks climbing out at night and letting the army in, or the final battle. So I just want you to make a freeze frame. So you're just going to stand in place, acting out one of these main events, okay, of what has happened, okay, and then make sure you're including in there, really show some facial expressions of the emotions that you'd be feeling in that position. Once you've done this, get a picture of it, okay? I want you to show me your freeze frame. Feel free to use props and things as well, or other people. So if you're in school, you can use other people, or if you want to get your family involved, that's absolutely fine with me, okay? And then take a picture of that and send it in for me. Okay, so you should have paused that, done that, given that a go, and then the next activity, I want you to do. This is our main activity today. So how did we know that this happened? So of course, one reason we know about this is because of a poem written by the Greek writer Homer, like we discussed at the very beginning. However, we also know things about the wars and in the past, very similar to like the Olympic Games, when images were often drawn onto pots to illustrate what had happened. Okay, so we remember we touched on that when we looked at the ancient Greek Olympics. Okay, so they often used to draw images on the pots, which is how we know that the Olympic Games began then, and how we know what events they did in the past. So what I want you to do then, your main activity for me to do today is design your own pot. So as we've just mentioned, evidence about the Games and Wars comes from paintings mostly commonly found on vases. So I want you now to design a drawing that could go on an ancient Greek vase or an ancient Greek pot. Okay, so this could either be from any of the wars, so either the Trojan War or the Battle of Marathon, or from the Olympic Games. So what you can do, research or look back at the work that you did on the Olympics, or back through this PowerPoint and what you've done today. And I want you to draw and design. Okay, I want you to do a drawing and design what you would put on your own ancient Greek pot. Okay. Now the most important thing is you need to do this and make sure it's really nice and detailed, because you will then be putting this design on the pot that you actually make next week. So I bought some clay into school. And so what I need you to do for next week's lesson is at some point next week, so either Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or even Friday if you're going to leave it that late, but I'd rather you try and come in on Monday if you can, and we'll set up some little packs for you. So if you just come into reception, pick up a pack, you'll have some work in there, and then you'll have some clay, and you can use this clay yourself then to mold your own pot, and then you can put your design on it, and that's what you'll be doing for next week's lesson. So for today's lesson, I want you to design what you're going to actually put on your vase or on your pot for me. Okay, and then make sure then that next week you come in and collect the clay so you can make your pot. Obviously I'll do a lesson next week helping you on how you're going to make your pot as well. Okay, hopefully that all makes sense now. Get on with all the tasks, and I'll see you later for your live lesson. Thank you very much, Year 5. Enjoy the rest of your day.